Hey, okay. So what I want you to do right now is get out your iPads and go to Schoology. Okay, and while Mr. Schwartz makes sure we're all here, can you quickly check your grade on Schoology? Okay, so go to second hour and click grade.
Just Deontay Fox, the only one done.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. So today is the last day that I will see you for an entire week.
Why? Oh yeah.
Why? Because we don't have school on Tuesday.
Then we have school on Thursday.
Yeah. But today's
And
Thursday.
then we have school on Thursday and Friday. Yeah, today's.
Is next Friday a flex day?
No, it's Monday is A, Wednesday is A, and then Thursday and Friday are B days.
What?
So.
I'm glad you guys know that because I have no idea.
I don't
Because
either.
then election day is no school, so then we basically don't have
That's your
school on
flex day?
Tuesday. We don't have school.
Okay.
So we don't even have online school. No, we don't even have distance.
Let's go. I still going to.
So hey, even though you don't have school on Tuesday, okay, you should use Tuesday as an opportunity to like get caught up in your classes, work on missing assignments, maybe get your grades up if you're not doing so hot, instead of just using the day to like lay on the couch and do nothing. You know, because 6 weeks goes by real fast and it's going to be the end of the trimester soon. And then you're going to be like, oh, snap, I have a D in this class. Okay? Even though we don't have school on Tuesday, I want you to utilize that day, make up missing assignments, whether it's in my class or any of your other classes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but use your time wisely. Okay. So what we are doing today is we are going to go over the demographic transition model, or the DTM. You should be familiar with what the DTM is because it was in your notes yesterday. It's that weird chart graph looking thing. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to fill out this assignment together. So I want to make sure that we all know what we're doing. Sound good? Yeah? Okay. So on Schoology, click on current unit. You guys can all see my Schoology page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We are in week 2. Okay, today is Thursday. All right, I want you to click demographic transition model activity. All right, download it and put it into Notability. I'm going to open it with Cami because I'm on my computer and Notability does not exist on a computer. Okay, so your assignment should look something like this. Okay, if you remember from our notes yesterday, the DTM, or the demographic transition model, is this chart at the top of the page. Okay. And when we look at a DTM, or when we look at the demographic transition model, we are looking at 3 statistics. Okay. We're looking at the crude birth rate, right? So that's the number of births per 1,000 people. So on this graph, or on this chart, our red line is the crude birth rate. Okay. So above the red line somewhere, I just want you to label it CBD for crude birth rate. Let's see if this works. Nope. That was terrible. Can I delete that? So just like it takes you guys forever to learn new technology, it takes us forever to learn new technology too. Scan tool. Yeah. Delete that. Delete that. Okay. So we'll just do a comment box. That's easier. So your red line is your crude birth rate.
All right, students, we are ready for our last, but definitely not least, last names U through Z. Can bring those smiles down to the activity center. That is last names U through Z. Thank you.
Okay, then our blue line is going to be our crude death rate, right? Or our CDR, right? And crude death rate is the number of deaths per 1,000 people. And then this brownish line is going to be our natural increase rate, right? And how do you determine natural increase rate? Do you remember from the other day? How do we determine our natural increase rate? What's our equation? To determine your natural increase rate. What statistic do I put first?
Number of births.
Yeah, the number of births. So your crude birth rate. So that's your crude birth rate. And then what do I subtract from that?
Death rate.
Yeah, your death rate or your crude death rate. Right? So I would write this on the top of your sheet somewhere so you have that information. Okay? If you have a positive natural increase rate, what's happening to your population? It's going up. Okay? If you have a negative natural increase rate, what's happening to your population? What's happening to it?
Going down.
It's going down. And you have a decreasing population. If you have a natural increase rate, okay, near zero, okay, so zero natural increase rate, is your population changing? What do you guys think? If you have a near zero natural increase rate, is your population changing at all or is it staying the same?
The same.
It's staying the same. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So what we are going to do is we are going to complete this chart together. So if you need to get out your notes from yesterday, I would make sure that you have those out, okay? Because you will need to refer back to them at some point. So stage 1 is our first stage in the demographic transition model. And that's this area right here. Okay, just looking at this chart, how would we describe the crude birth rate for stage 1? Is it high or is it low? The red line on stage 1. How would we describe our crude birth rate?
It's high.
Hi.
It's high. Okay. What about our crude death rate? So the blue line. How would we describe that in stage 1?
High.
It's high as well. Okay, so then what happens to our natural increase rate? This brown line.
Low.
Low. In fact, it's near zero. Okay, which means our population is not increasing, it's not decreasing, right? It's staying the same. You have lots of people that are being born and lots of people that are dying. Currently, so this is information based on your notes, what countries are in stage 1 of the demographic transition model?
There are 10.
There aren't any. It does not exist anymore. Okay? It does not exist anymore. There are currently 0 countries in stage 1. Why does it not exist anymore? What has happened in the world that have led countries out of stage 1?
Economic growth. Stage
Economic growth, absolutely. We call economic growth in the United States and Europe the Industrial Revolution, right, as kind of like the tipping point for moving Europe and the United States out of stage 1 and into stage 2. What about the rest of the world? Because the rest of the world didn't really move out of stage 1 until kind of the last 50 to 100 years. What happened in the rest of the world? Okay, there was another revolution. It wasn't the Industrial Revolution. And what other revolution helped push the rest of the world, like Latin America, Asia, and Africa, out of stage 1? What helped people stop dying?
The medical revolution.
The medical revolution, absolutely. Okay. And the medical revolution was really 1950 and after. Okay, it's when Western countries like the United States and parts of Europe brought medical technology, so that's access to medication, vaccines, healthcare systems, things like that, to developing countries and helped implement those same practices to prevent people from dying from random diseases. Okay, so it helped improve your life expectancy in the developing world. Absolutely. So the changes for crude birth rate and changes for crude death rate are going to be like the same for all of these, right? So they just extend. Okay. So moving on to stage 2. Okay. How would we describe the crude birth rate in stage 2? How would we describe this red line for stage 2?
High.
High. How would we describe the crude death rate for stage 2? This blue line.
Low.
Decreasing.
It's decreasing, right? It's not quite low yet because at the beginning it starts up top. Then how would we describe our natural increase rate? This brown line.
Increasing.
Increasing. Okay, is it going up quickly or does it go up very slowly? What do you guys think? This jump from like 0 to over 50. Is that a gradual increase or is it pretty fast?
Pretty fast.
Pretty fast, right? So it's increasing rapidly. Okay. Currently, what countries are in stage 2 or what parts of the world are in stage 2?
Most,
This is from your notes. What?
most African countries.
Okay. Anyplace else? Okay. Most African countries. I would say a few countries in Latin America and Asia as well. Okay, so we can characterize these countries as less developed countries. Okay. So again, our reasons for moving out of these stages. Okay. The United States and Europe continued to progress out of stage 2 and into stage 3 due to the Industrial Revolution and the economic growth that occurred afterwards. Okay. And then the medical revolution for the rest of the world has helped maintain stage 2 level of development for areas in the developing world still. Okay, so we still have countries in here. Taking a look at stage 3. Okay. How would we describe our crude birth rate or red line? What's happening?
Decreasing.
It's decreasing. Okay. What about our crude death rate or our blue line? Okay, how would we describe this?
Decreasing.
Yeah, decreasing / low, right? Because it's not like super decreasing like it was in stage 2, right? It doesn't drop off. It decreases a little, but then it kind of starts to get stabilized. How would we describe our natural increase rate or our brown line?
Decrease.
Decreasing.
Okay, so it's decreasing, but this is kind of a trick question, right? Because our natural increase rate is still going to be positive, okay? Because our crude birth rate is still higher than our crude death rate. So our natural increase rate is still increasing slowly. Okay? So it's not your rapid population growth, but your population is still growing. Right? Because your crude birth rate is still higher than your crude death rate. So as long as you have this gap here, your population is going to grow. What countries are currently in stage 3 of the demographic transition model? Or what areas of the world are currently in stage 3? This is from your notes.
Most of Asia and Latin America.
Okay. Perfect. Most of Asia and Latin America, right? So all of the other countries in Asia and Latin America that aren't in stage 2. And we can generalize these countries as newly industrialized. How do you spell industrialized? Newly industrialized countries. There, and I see. You guys are probably like, I don't know what that means. That's okay. You will eventually. So the movement from stage 2 to stage 3, okay, is the movement from the Hans Rosling video, right, where people go from stopping to like look for your basic needs, your shoes, and have now progressed to the bicycle or potentially the car. Okay, and if you remember from our Hans Rosling video, okay, what does he say has to happen in order for that movement to occur? Remember? People need to stop doing what?
Having big families.
Having big families, okay? So we call that family planning, okay? Or access to contraception. What's contraception? You guys know?
Birth control.
Birth control. Yes, fancy academic term for birth control. Okay. So as soon as you see that family planning or that access to contraception, your crude birth rates are going to decrease. Okay. You also have an increase in access to education for women. Okay. So when women's rights begin to increase and their ability to obtain an education and get a good job, and the number of children that women are going to have are also going to decrease. because instead of being 16, 17, 18 in starting families, women are now in their late 20s, early 30s starting families. So that window for total fertility rate, so the window in which women can have children, has been decreased. So they're not going to have as many. Hi, I'm teaching. Sorry, my husband just got up. I know, I wish I could get up at 10:30. Okay, so stage 4 is our last stage in the demographic transition model. Okay, how would you describe the crude birth rate or this red line in stage 4?
Leveling off.
Leveling off, okay? We can say that it's leveling off. We can also describe it as being low. Okay. What about our crude death rate in stage 4? And what about the blue line in stage 4? How would we describe this?
Slightly increasing.
Okay, maybe slightly increasing. Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is our last call for pictures. And just a reminder that every student will want to get their picture taken in order to get a student ID, regardless of what grade you're in. So last call, anybody who wants to go up and show that beautiful smile, go to the activity center and get those pictures taken. And have a great park day.
Okay, so we can say that the crude death rate has a slight increase, right? But we can also describe it as just being low in general. So what happens to our natural increase rate? Okay, if both of our crude birth rates and our crude death rates are low, what's happening to our population?
Constant.
It's what?
Constant.
Okay, constant, is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So we are going to describe it as being, okay, I'm going to say that your natural increase rate is low as well. Okay, slash constant slash the same. Okay. In fact, we can even describe the natural increase rate as being near 0 in stage 4. And your population's not really increasing, it's not really decreasing, it's being maintained. It's staying the same. What countries are currently in stage 4?
Most of Europe and the USA.
Okay. Right, most of Europe and the United States. Okay, we can generalize and say that more developed countries are in this stage of the demographic transition model. Okay. And countries have been able to move from stage 3 to stage 4, right? Due to continued access for family planning and contraception and increase in education for women. Also, you can say that countries are moving from stage 3 to stage 4 because of the cost of living. Right? It's getting expensive to live in these countries. People aren't wanting to have large families because they don't have the income to support these large families. Okay. And then, as always, you have the increase in medical technology. People are also living longer. Then, hypothetically, right, our notes talked about a potential stage 5. So if we were to draw stage 5, how would we draw our crude birth rate in stage 5? Okay, so look back in your notes. There's a hypothetical stage 5, right? Some geographers are like, yeah, stage 5 exists. Others are like, no, it doesn't. But let's say that it does. How would we describe our crude birth rate in stage 5?
Low.
Low, right? It is decreasing. Right? What about our crude death rate in stage 5?
High.
Yeah, it's kind of increasing. Right? So then what happens to our natural increase rate in stage 5?
Would it be negative?
Yeah, it would be negative, right? Because what's happening to population growth in stage 5? Is there any?
No, the population is decreasing.
The population is decreasing. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm just going to write stage 5. Give this a hypothetical. Okay. So then in stage 5, like we said, our crude birth rate is decreasing. We're getting lower. Okay. Our crude death rate is increasing. We're getting higher, and then our natural increase rate would be negative, meaning our population is decreasing. Right. Based on what the note said, what countries are in this hypothetical stage 5? Based on your notes, what countries are in this hypothetical stage 5? This like area of a decreasing population. Eastern Europe, right? So we're talking like Russia, Czechoslovakia. I guess it's the Czech Republic now, but places like that. Okay, so Eastern Europe. Right? That's where we see an older population. People really aren't having children. Okay. China was in this hypothetical stage 5 for a while, right? When they instituted their one-child policy. And their family planning methods worked so well that they were able to repeal their one-child policy and now institute a two-child policy. So instead of trying to reduce the population, now China's trying to maintain their population, right? Because they were so successful in curbing their population growth. Absolutely. Okay. So what questions do you have on the demographic transition model? Did it help by going over it and breaking it down like step by step together as a class? Yes, no, maybe so. Maybe. Okay, on your test tomorrow, you will have questions about like each of these stages, right? Like what happens, how would you describe the crude birth rate, crude death rate, things like that. Okay. Then the second part of your notes yesterday talked about population pyramids and how population pyramids related to the demographic transition model. Okay. Population pyramids look like this, and population pyramids tell us the breakdown between males and females in society. Okay, so like what our percentage of our society is male, what percentage of our society is female. But then it also breaks down the age categories in society. So how many young people are there? How many old people are there? And how many people are in the middle? So it lets you know the number of dependents. Right? Anybody under the age of 18 or over the age of 65-ish are considered a dependent, meaning it's challenging to live on your own, right? You rely on somebody else to be successful or supported. So from our 3 population pyramids here, right, we can see the breakdown between male and female, and then also the age. Okay. So question number 1 says, which of the above population pyramids do you think shows a population in rapid growth, or stage 2 of the demographic transition model? If we look, stage 2, we know has a high crude birth rate and a lower crude death rate. So their natural increase rate is really high. Okay. If they have a high crude birth rate, what are they having a lot of? If you have a high crude birth rate, what does that mean?
You're having a lot of children.
You're having a lot of children, absolutely. So which of these population pyramids shows a large percentage of their population in children?
C.
C, absolutely. Okay. Large number of young people. Not children. So each of these bars are 5 years. Okay, so this first level down here is 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, okay, 15 to 20. So you can see that the majority of their population in Pyramid C is between the age of 0 and 20. Okay, and it looks like an upside down triangle. They don't have a ton of old people. Okay, people aren't really living past age 60, 65. Question number 2. Which of the above population pyramids shows a population in slow growth, or stage 4? Okay, if we go up and look at stage 4, our crude birth rate is low, our crude death rate is low, our natural increase rate is near 0, right? Our population is about the same. So it doesn't really matter if they're young or they're old. And which population pyramid, A or B, shows roughly the same number of old people and young people?
A.
A, absolutely. Okay. Right, we see a large, well, not a large, but a higher percentage of your population that falls somewhere in the middle. Okay, so these would be kind of like the parents and the adults in society. But overall, okay, the number of young people compared to the number of old people is about the same. Okay, so they're maintaining their population size. And then question number 3, which pyramid do you think shows a population in negative growth? So stage 5, right? In stage 5, we know that our crude birth rate is lower than our crude death rate, right? So we have a negative population. We have a decreasing size. And what are we left with? Which pyramid shows a country in negative growth, or stage 5?
B.
B, right? And we can see this because their crude birth rate, or the number of babies being born each year, continues to get smaller. Right? They're having fewer and fewer and fewer children. Whereas the number of old people, right, or the number of people that are making it to an older age, are continuing to increase. So when I think about population pyramids and the demographic transition model, I like to describe them in shapes. So for stage 2 in the demographic transition model, I even have a shape button. I would describe your population pyramid as a triangle. Okay. Meaning you are going to have more young people than there are old people. Okay. For stage 3 of the demographic transition model, I still kind of describe it as a triangle, but it is a way narrower triangle. It's almost kind of more like a rectangle, like halfway between a triangle and a rectangle. Okay. Where your population is growing, but it's just not growing as fast. Stage 4, I would describe more as like an actual rectangle. Okay. Where the same number of young people as you have old people, so your population isn't growing, it's maintaining. And then stage 5, I would describe stage 5 as an upside down triangle, where you have more old people than you do young people. Ooh, yeah, I can move it now. So I'm just going to put my population pyramid drawings at the top. So you have them. Come on. Maybe. Oh, whatever. Okay, you guys get the point, right? Yes? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, do we need to draw a shape for stage 1? For a population pyramid?
No.
No, why not? Are there currently any countries in stage 1? No, it doesn't exist, right? The only way that we are going to go back to stage 1 of the demographic transition model is if we have like a nuclear apocalypse and we go back to survival mode and everything basically gets wiped out and our civilization or our society is starting over from the beginning. Okay. So like if zombies are real and they all of a sudden come and attack us one day, then we might go back to stage 1. But otherwise, we will never go back to stage 1. We have the technology and the advancements and the medicine to prevent that from happening throughout the world. Okay, what questions do you have about the demographic transition model or population pyramids? None. Okay, what you guys should do is make sure that you have this completed and filled out. Okay, and then you will turn this in on Schoology to the DTM, the Demographic Transition Model assignment. Okay. I am going to download it to my computer and save it. Wonderful. Okay. So go ahead and turn it into the assignment that's called 2H, Demographic Transition Model Activity. Then you have about 35 minutes left in class. And what I want you to do for the remainder of class is you are going to study for your population test that is tomorrow. So in the Tuesday folder, you have your population review. You have a link to the quizzes game that you can play, right? As well as the study guide. So tomorrow when you are at home, you will be taking your population test. You can also utilize these 30 minutes to turn in any missing assignments that you have from Unit 2 and Unit 1. But Unit 2, you have your 2 sets of notes, your 2 notes quizzes, the thing we just went over, that DTM, and then the video from Tuesday. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to come back at 11:10, and I want to go over what you guys are doing next week since I won't see you until Thursday. Sound good? Yes, can I get a head nod? You're like, yep, I got it. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, sounds good. Let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, I will see you in about 30 minutes.